Hey everybody, today is November 27th, 2023. I'm Gene and welcome to the Monday edition of Hanging with Uncle. I hope everybody is safe after the Thanksgiving holiday. And man, it's like Christmas is coming and so is New Year's. We have three holidays damn near within a month of each other. And number one, that's why people call it the holiday season because there's so many in a short period of time. And number two, again, I hope everyone mostly was safe out there. So before we get started, hit that subscribe button. We're really trying to grow our channel. Hit that thumbs up button, that like button. It lets everybody know we exist out here on the planet. And hit that notification bell on the right so you'll know when we go live and put new content out there. And just so I want to talk about veterans today. Um, and from a point that I don't think a lot of people really understand or grasp or appreciate. But to talk about this, we have our man on the street. Brent, welcome back to the show.
Yeah, I'm really excited to talk about this. I'm a proud parent of a Navy personnel right now, and he's being deployed to the Keystone of the Pacific this springtime. So, man, there's so many different stresses that are put on not only the service people, but also the families that are kind of serving with the member of the service. You know, it's a two things, a two problem solution really when it comes to what people do when they serve. You know, the families are just as much involved as the service people. So I'm excited to talk about this, man. I guess you have great experience. You served for the Air Force.
Yeah, I served in the Air Force. I was a crew chief on F-15s, and also my son, my eldest, is active duty Army. So, talk about not only being a veteran myself, but when you have, like you said, your children, your offspring also serve. It just gives that deeper connection because you both have taken the same oath to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States. And that's not something I take lightly. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to talk about veterans today because, number one, I'm not tired of hearing thank you for your service, but I don't want it to be some watered down cliche that's just used and we forget the meaning or what it really understands to serve. Because just to keep this in perspective, currently, we have millions of men in serving active duty, reserve, National Guard. And when you are active duty, you are maybe not deployed overseas, but let's say you're from Kansas, but you're stationed in Florida. You're still away from your family. You have people that miss you that you're disconnected from. Maybe you really want to be home, but you can't because, like me, when I was in, being a crew chief in the Air Force, planes got to fly. So, that's job one. And there were plenty of holidays I spent on the flight line instead of with my family. So, Brent, as a father, I mean, how is that impacting you?
You know, we talked about this. You know, he knew how I tried to serve and why I couldn't. He knew most of our family were, served in the military. Um, on both sides. On the wife's side, too, there was a Navy Seabees. Um, so he was motivated. And living up in Alaska too, people don't understand the military connection up there. I never lived in a state before that was so pro-military, and so many people served. A lot of people You don't really know this if you're from the lower 48, but if you're a Alaskan resident, you get a permanent fund dividend fund, which is about a grand or two extra a month or a year. But if you actually are a military member, you could be, say, you're stationed there, and there's a bunch of Air Force bases, Army, blah 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 up there. So a lot of people claim that that's their home base. And a lot of people eventually go up there because when they're out of the military, they want to go in and check it out because it really is a great kind of frontier. It has a certain kind of feeling about it. It's kind of like the Old West, let's just say. Yeah. So the military families up there are very involved with it. There's generation after generation that served, and I felt proud. I never said, out of all the states I lived in, I never said I was a Michigander or this or that, but I did say that I was Alaskan when I lived up there, and I started doing that because of the pride that people felt in how we protected our nation. NORAD's up there, this and that. So his friends were going into it in high school. I knew there was a war going to be coming up. I knew for a while. So I was trying to talk them, through the process, telling them what is going on. And this is, a 40-year-old person talking to a 17, 18-year-old, telling him, about the dangers and what to expect and blah, blah, blah. But that only seemed to get him more interested. So I never felt so proud, in my life that he chose to go ahead and protect, to serve in that capacity. But I tell you what, it's a very hard ticket to get any type of holiday pass.
Yeah.
People try, you got to be pretty high up, and then you got to put in your time, and then there's so many different things going on around the holidays for the military, too. Some of the people like to stay there. Like, my son, I caught up the day before Thanksgiving because I knew that he was going to be going to, over to, like, Japan soon, and I wanted to give him that time to build and bond with his team. And then on a ship, you're all together, man. It's one for all there. And I knew that was an important bonding time. So that's what a lot of people, they have a struggle probably with and how to balance between family and military. And then some of those kids are, maybe the first time away from home during the holidays.
And how,
so
when you talk about Alaska, I don't know if a lot of people know the strategic importance of that place. Not only for the Air Force, but the Navy, because Alaska is a really huge peninsula. And right there, you're in the within the striking distance of Russia, China, and North Korea. And that would be like a first strike kind of place that Alaska would be a target of. So that place is no joke. It has a very strategic importance for our national security and Canada as well.
Yeah, there's one of our connections is basically the guy that runs NORAD. I won't say his name because we know him, and but NORAD is North America radar and
aerial defense.
Air defense.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, and air defense.
Yep. So they have Signet, all these different sensors they put out there in the sea and in the sky, running constant missions to protect us. There's all these bases so spread out that they're constantly moving around. So even if you're stationed in Anchorage or up in Fairbanks, wherever you're at, you're moving around Alaska a lot if you're actually on an Air Force or NORAD team. You gotta go ahead and be prepared in those radar stations and signal intelligence places. They got to have constant upkeep, and how the military runs it too. Man, you you can go through some checks and balances there, man. There's a lot of checks going on, and that's the thing is they've been very organized in how they approach the situation.
There's
But
very little known secret. I don't know a secret, but a lot of people do not understand the importance of NORAD, not just for the United States, because remember, it's North American, right? They alternate every year a four-star general from the Air Force and a four-star general from the Canadian Air Force take turns every year alternating having command of NORAD. This is a joint country partnership that's involved in this.
yeah, and so they are actually reinforcing sites in Ontario right now. They're doing a site, I think, in the UP of Michigan. They're actually strengthening it up right now. And there's other factors too involved. There's the government runs a few different operations through NOAA, North the fishery and God, North Atlantic Ocean and Administration Association or something like that, NOAA.
Yeah.
So they are constantly in the air too, and they have a lot of actually buoys and different types of sensors out in the ocean too, and everything actually they all work with each other to protect. And now, of course, you got the Coast Guard. You have all these different things going on. So every branch of the government or of the military and different agencies of the government help protect a protective shield around North America. And the Canadians, whether it be their Air Force or their, whatever their partnerships are, they have these scenarios, these red team, blue team scenarios where they challenge each other on this. And they have these scenarios that they run through. They just went through their training exercises, I think, about 2 or 3 months ago. But, that's just one part of it that helps protect us. But it's good that people should understand that a lot of people are worried right now. Well, so we got to go ahead and let people know that the government does work for them.
You brought up a
Not just
point earlier how important this is for our national security and the interaction that we have to have and the readiness and the capabilities and the things that are in place, so there are people watching things go bump in the night. Again, that whole lip service, thank you for your service, but then you have assholes like Tommy Tuberville in the Senate, who is in the minority but still has the ability to block military promotions and disrupt readiness and national security. I'm tired of hearing about the right being the party of veterans and supporting our national security, because what Tommy Tuberville is totally showing the opposite. And I want to know what you think.
Yeah, I think he's holding up over 400 nominations right now. It was weird. He did let one nomination go through, I think. The Joint Chiefs, yep. I wonder how they coaxed him there. Who slept him 100 or something.
He was under the misconception that Mark Milley was just going to stay until somebody else was appointed, not understanding that he had to go and be out by November 1st. And if he stood in the way of that, the Department of Defense would be without a Joint Chief. I mean, you still have a chief of the Air Force, the Army, the Marines, the Navy, but there would be no joint chief overseeing all of them. And there's still some joint chief vacancies from military branches that are not filled because he's blocking them. And this is the kind of impact that it's having. And I know earlier when we were talking, you wanted to talk about the workaround from the Rules Committee.
Yeah, there was a vote with the Rules Committee that they're going to try to go ahead and get around, his block on appointments. Now, I think there's about 16 people on the Rules Committee.
Yes.
And it fell right along party lines. 9 Democrats voted for it. 7 Republicans voted against it, including Cruz and the Turtle.
Mitch McConnell.
Mitch McConnell, yes. So, for everything he says about military readiness and this and that, he had a chance to set an example right then and there for his party to go ahead and take a stand with the military. Whether he's taking a stand for Tommy Tuberville or not is because he's a party affiliated, because he's a Republican, has no bearing on military readiness.
Well, this is something really, really important to remember about the Rules Committee. Deb Fischer from Nebraska is the ranking member. McConnell is just a member on the committee. So he really is just a vote. Now, what pisses me off is that a couple of weeks ago you had these Republicans like Lindsey Graham and Joni Ernst and others stand on the well of the Senate floor and condemn Tommy Tuberville by name. Yet when it comes to voting and putting where your mouth is, all 7 Republicans voted no on this bill. Even though it passed the committee, all 7 Republicans voted no.
Sure, when the vote, you figure they'd have that vote immediately. I mean, I don't understand why it's hopefully when they come back into session from the Thanksgiving period, I think they have a couple of 2 or 3 week period before Christmas. So hopefully they'll get on that right away and try to start making those appointments. So let me give you a point of view from a senior member of the military. So because there's 400 less people, and now we're talking about Christmas and Thanksgiving, he's going to have to there's people putting in so much more time. There was less appointments needed, but then it started to snowball because people had to work overtime. Our senior members of the military started to have to work overtime because these other appointments weren't met. So now they're getting stressed out more. Maybe they're not being able to spend time with their families. There's other jobs available out there. So there was an exodus.
Remember what happened to the deputy commandant of the Marine Corps?
Know what happened?
So,
oh yeah, didn't he?
He had a break. I'm not going to say a breakdown, but like stress, overworked, had to check himself into the hospital because he was doing the work of 2 positions. Because dumbass Tommy Tuberville thinks, oh well, we're overstaffed, and this guy can do the work. No, you dumb son of a bitch. We need this guy to have a boss so he can do his own job and, put somebody in that spot above him so he's not acting and he can do his own job and fill that slot. It's convoluted system. It's a convoluted process. So I know a lot of people hate the system, but it is what it is, and you need the people there to run it. And it's only going to slow down and benefit our adversaries with these positions being blocked. Brent?
It's too. I mean, I know a lot of people that are stressed out over it. It seems like, but from a perspective of knowing about bipartisanship, I don't understand why Democrats aren't trying to figure out what do the Republicans need right now and make some type of deal. Like, if this is a big issue. So we are at war. We just sent 2,000 troops. I think the 2,000 Army personnel now over to help out with Israel.
And
that's not including all the Navy people and all others that are in the Mediterranean that got pushed over there from there. And let me bring this up too. Now that they're over in the Mediterranean too, and there's all these threat level has increased. Now anybody that had a holiday break, if you're in the military, guess what? Does not matter now.
Yeah.
Now, so we should be having some Democrats reach across the aisle and sit down and talk to them. Now it's the holiday season. You had your turkey. Everyone got their fill. We need both parties to kind of step up to the plate. And I think it's going to take some of the old school people. Like, we need to get Romney involved and, people that say they're in the middle. Well, if you really are in the middle, let's see it. Let's see you do your due diligence.
Will we
and actually,
Republicans vote to overturn this rule so we can go end around Tuberville's blockage?
Yep. We need you need to get to the 60 threshold. And then once you're at that 60, maybe you should think about changing that stupid law where one person could block the whole damn thing.
Maybe.
What kind of law is that?
Maybe when he was coach at Auburn, if he taught them how to block better, he'd still be there instead of getting fired.
I wonder. I forgot. I was so happy Michigan won.
Yeah.
I didn't notice who won the Iron Bowl. If it was Auburn or
Alabama.
I think Bama won. But
I'll tell you what. Let me take a look real quick. I'll answer that question really fast.
This is why I'm here. I need the football information. We got to get the breakdown.
Yes.
You know what Tuberville should have been doing too was, I think that tree got killed underneath his watch. Do you remember that? There's like a 120-year-old tree. This is how much people in Alabama hate each other.
So
the Crimson Tide guy went and killed their most special tree on the whole campus, the one that's kind of their symbol, just because of that type of hate.
So Alabama won the Iron Bowl. They came back on a 4th down and 31 yards to go to convert it and beat Auburn.
That's going to be they're probably still not going to make the bowl championship, but
no, not at all.
Next year they'll have. I think next year it starts to have 8, or the year after that. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I'd like to see a couple more people get in there. I just like to see a longer playoff. 4 games or 2 games are cool, but or 3, but I like to see a little bit longer.
Just a little bit. But yeah, man.
Plus,
anyway, I didn't want to get too sidetracked, man. I just kind of wanted to still, again, it chaps my ass. All this empty talk about how we support our military. Fucking Ted Cruz voted no. If I ever hear that son of a bitch say how he's so pro-military again, he can get on his knees and hug me.
Yeah, I do not like Ted Cruz at all, man.
No.
He's, it's not, like, I know from the intellectual property side about what he does. A lot of your intellectual property laws are kind of written and or defended by him or people in Texas. He's kind of the face of it. And big business basically took it over. Now, people are getting their IPs getting stolen left or right. Any kind of a good idea is being washed. It's hard to get your patent. And if you get a patent, they make it so ambiguous now with the PTAB and, just how the patent office sets it up is, it just makes it hard for you to keep data. Some companies going to come in and tweak it a little bit, argue it in court, and probably win because they got so much pull to go in and do that. But that's because of people like Cruz and the people that's supposed to be helping out business people are not really helping on anybody except the very, very top tier of it,
Well, he's up for re-election.
And it's only a little worse.
So hopefully we can vote him out.
Yeah, I wonder who's going to be. Is Beto running against him?
No. I forget who's running against him on the Democratic side. It's not Beto. I hope Beto finally just goes home, to be honest with you.
Yeah. How about Matthew McConaughey? We need a drummer in there. we need a.
He's definitely said he's not interested, but boy, wouldn't that be something, because he would win, period.
I think he would.
Yeah.
Just by him showing up. And, everyone loves him so much in Texas. It's, there's been actors that won before. I can think of one from the 80s for sure.
I bet. I bet if he ran as an independent, he'd win easily.
Well, I wonder if how this is all going to shake out. But let's get back to the military, man. What I know about, I was never deployed before. I was never in the military. But as a cooperating informant, I have been on assignment where it's been a little scary. Yeah. So this is the thing I was talking about today, is sometimes when you're overseas and you're in the military, you probably have a lot of people asking, are you okay? Is everything fine? They know a war is going on, which it looks like there's a very big war coming on. Well, that's an uncomfortable question, really. I knew it was uncomfortable for me to talk about what I was doing at Harper's Ferry, because when a few people heard about it, they were really concerned. So instead of being the doom and gloom guy on war on cash, this or that, or the war, like a military guy saying, oh, there's a big battle coming up, you probably start to gloss it over with your family and friends a little bit. You try to not make it sound like as bad because you care for them. But that kind of puts you into,
You don't want them involved.
Exactly. You want them to live their life. You want them to love you, but you don't want them to be consumed with it and then filled with grief if something does happen. This is a decision that you made, but then that puts you in a unique situation because you're kind of crossing over and a little bit, kind of lying about it, or just not being as forthcoming. So that kind of gets to you in a way too. So for me, it was easier to avoid people, and especially bugged me around the holidays because I knew I was going to get a call. That's what all my friends are calling. So I have to say the same story. Oh, this or that. So the holidays are a very stressful time for military members too. Yeah. So you should think about that. Instead of just saying, hey, thank you for your service or that, you should, if you're going to call them up and, just be respectful of them and knowing that the challenges that they're going through.
Here's my thing.
Too, you got to, it's a hard thing. It's
up to us as the voters that if we really want to thank veterans for their service, then they should daily be on the phone calling their elected member of the House of Representatives and United States Senate, demanding legislation that supports veterans, because that is how you do your best to thank veterans for their service, in my opinion.
Yeah, how did it get so far away from that principle?
You
And
know,
I don't get it. Why isn't there people reaching out to their Congress people? They should be demanding out of anybody that's get elected, and then hold them accountable for it. Like you said, there is so many veterans out there. Maybe some type of app to track them to see how they vote and put it out there all the time. And then if you don't show up for a military vote, well, it doesn't matter. If you don't show up, that's as bad as slapping a veteran.
well,
Then
I'm going to tell you
you
that,
know.
because we're pretty much running out of time. But I think, to answer your question and kind of really let this absorb for a second. It's all about mindset, okay? Some gave all gave some, and one had bone spurs. And that's all I have to say about that.
Well, chump is chump. What can we do?
Right?
You know what? The guy from Iowa is using that now. The evangelical guy. He wants D. Satan to win, but he's starting to use the chump terminology.
Good.
So now I got another guy using it. I like that.
Outstanding. All right. Well, anyway, that's all the time we have for today. Brent, thank you again for being on the show.
No problem, brother.
All right. And thank you for listening. And remember, if you want to support your veterans, if you really want to give thanks, call your elected representatives. Remember, everybody, stay safe, be kind to one another, and treat each other the way you want to be treated. That's all the time we